you have made this grand entrance into the finance world and absolutely lit it on fire. Basically just got on Twitter one day, started live streaming, and basically blew up all the scams, all the whatever. Why did you do it?
Well, sports was discontinued, and I was looking for, and we were slowly getting ready to move out of the office. So I was looking for something to pass the time. I mean, it is gambling. I like gambling.
It's definitely gambling.
It's 100% gambling. It's
just a legal casino.
Exactly. It's walking into a casino. Yep. Anybody who says otherwise is a liar, and you shouldn't trust them. So I love gambling, and I was looking for something to do. I mean, I had bought a couple stocks way back when, so I had an E-Trade account, I think, with Twitter in it, and that's it. So I just started trading a couple stocks, made I didn't start with the live stream. I put on a suit, pretended it was, my own Wall Street. It's like, oh, this is interesting. And people gravitated towards it right away. And I'm in the content business first and foremost. So it's like, okay, if people are interested in doing this, I'll do it. I mean, we live streamed gambling before, sports gambling, and people are into that, watching you win, lose money. No different than stock market.
So I feel like you have this resurgence. Like you did all the content for a really long time. Then the Penn deal happened. You kind of were like doing business stuff, a little bit of content. Mm-hmm. And then when the pandemic hit, you just went hard at the content again. It kind of reminded everyone like this place is here because that's what you did for years and years and years. Right.
Early days.
Yeah. And so I think that people kind of forgotten that you're just a degenerate gambler at heart. Right. And the stock market's no different if you treat it that way. Right.
So, Davey Page Views, like that's the name from way back. Like I can get page views for anything. That's what I used to call myself. And it really was. I was all content. Like, that's all I did. Maybe like a little business, but once really with the churn-in deal and moving forward, I do a lot more on the business side. I don't have nearly as much time for the content, which I miss to a degree. But quarantine and Corona, when you're isolated in your own office, there's not much business stuff or not nearly as much going on. I got heavy into the content game.
All right. So I want to talk about Penn first, then we'll go talk about Bitcoin stuff. In 2016, you do the churn-in deal.
Yep.
Most people say horrible deal. Where you sit now, hindsight, pretty good deal.
You mean horrible deal in what sense?
Like the whole tech world is like, oh my God, I can't believe you sold more than 50% of the business for like whatever. But based on what I know, like you guys pretty much needed help to scale the business. And so would you do that deal again?
Yeah. I mean, churn-in, it's such an interesting answer because, and it's no different than the Penn deal to a degree, there were no other offers. Like nobody, and anybody who was interested, the conversations were quickly shut down because I was making a lot of money. That maybe like
personally.
Correct. Yeah. I was making 7 figures and our company was doing well and I was making more than I ever thought. And so I had no aspirations necessarily to take an investor or sell it. In the churn guys, Mike Kearns, who reached out, he was a believer in the content. And it wasn't like, hey, we want to change it. It was like, you do you. Let's add some fire. Let's get a CEO, ramp up the business. But I didn't have anything to evaluate it. It wasn't like a bidding war. There weren't people knocking down. If that deal didn't happen, nobody was buying it. You had to basically accept the risk and the negative perceptions, which I think are all false, of Barstool. But it is... it wasn't a wedding registry that's safe. There was some element of risk there. So was the valuation extremely low? Yes. Was the first offer Mike Kearns made to me insulting? Yes. Was, in hindsight,
what was the first one?
I think $7 million.
$7 million valuation?
Yeah.
And you got them all the way up to 15?
It was like 12 and a half.
All right. But to be fair, like that's pretty good negotiating on your part. Mike's no pushover when negotiating.
Well, I think he went so low. Kearns, he's a professional. The churn guys are professional negotiators.
Yeah, they're super legit. They know what they're doing. Totally. So if you moved it from 7 to 12, like you did a pretty good job.
Yeah, it was so fucking low. and by the way, it's like I had a number in my head. I don't negotiate. So 7 is like, okay. I think I was just like, no, I'll see you later. And then it's like, well, it's going to have to be 12 and a half. And then maybe it was back and forth, and that's what it is. And Kearns will probably say that. I am probably, and I wouldn't say I'm a good negotiator, but I say the price, and that's it. And if you like it,
we have 2 data points. You also did it with Call Her Daddy. Same thing.
Correct.
Here's the price. Take it or leave it.
And we had a little sticking point with, to be honest, the Penn deal. And it's like, I needed churn-in to ante something up. And
what was it?
I can't get into the details, but it got testy. And there was one call at one point where it's like, well, why don't we split it? Why don't we do this? It's like, I don't think you're hearing me. It's like I'll walk away from everything, or it's this. But I also am too low. Now again, Chernin brought credibility, like expertise.
Erica.
Well, no, I brought Erica.
Oh, you brought Erica. Okay.
Yeah. So they brought all of that to the table. They were the only, so they get credit for, and huge credit for seeing it, taking the risk, being the one who offered. No different than Penn. Like hindsight, Penn looks like they got an awesome deal. Yeah. Guess what? We met with everybody else, FanDuel, DraftKings. Nobody made an offer. Like,
why? Are they scared of you? Are they scared of the content? Are they scared of just the perception and the controversy?
I think there were two major factors. Scared of me, controversy, A. B, we had worked with them for a while. Mm-hmm. So I think they kind of thought, hey, we've gotten everything out of Barstool. We've gotten their audience.
But you guys, I mean, in a way, built those companies.
I would say absolutely.
Like, okay, explain that a little bit.
So we were working with the daily fantasy companies before DraftKings existed, I believe. FanDuel, Draft Street, a lot of early ones. And when I say early, like nascent. Like they were starting. We had this big blackout tour that was a concert tour we did and became wildly popular and huge. That was started because Draft Street, which was later bought by DraftKings, asked us to do a promo to reach frat guys to get them to sign up, literally. And DraftKings, I sat with like Jason Robbins and all the owners probably a decade ago in Nantucket or something like that. And they offered me equity in the company because we do these contracts in pit FanDuel, DraftKings versus each other and highest bidder. And they go back. It was a war because we were so effective. Now,
did you take the equity?
Did not take the equity.
Why?
The main reason was I was so focused with Barstool, and I thought there was going to be too much going on where I sit in the room and I didn't totally understand it, but it's like I didn't envision wanting to sit in a room every week and have these meetings. It's like I was concentrating on Barstool. And I didn't totally understand the equity portion of it. In hindsight, I don't know which way would have worked out better. Like I could have done this deal, but I obviously would have had a small percentage. And I don't understand dilution and all that shit, what it would have ended up with. So we worked with them throughout. But as Barstool grew and as that space became more competitive, we started, and this is something I never did back in the day. One ad will be an MGM casino, the next is FanDuel, the next is DraftKings, the next is PointBet. It just became whitewashed, just like how it is if you watch a football game now and there's 10 commercials. Do you pay attention to any of them? Probably not. So I don't think any of the companies we're meeting with realized, well, when we were bought or acquired or focus our energy just on one company, what will happen? It changes the game, the narrative, everything. So I think they underestimated that. I think they were a little bit scared, but they could have gotten us, FanDuel specifically, and could have gotten us for far cheaper, I think, than Penn did, to be honest. And they missed the boat.
So you do the Chernin deal.
Yep.
I remember talking to Erica in 2017. She laid out this vision. We were joking earlier, like to the point where it was almost, is that even possible? Right? Like, hey, we're going to the moon type thing. I wrote this piece and said, you guys were, I think it was a $15 million valuation.
It was 12 and a half. I always said, because Chernin didn't want to say what it was, so I would always say 10 to 15s, but it was 12 and a half.
Okay. All right. Well, you probably shouldn't say the exact number now.
Well, it doesn't matter now, except people be like, you idiot. I think I may Chernin like $250,000 or something like that. No big deal.
Did he buy you dinner?
No, we haven't. He has offered. He has offered. But,
you just didn't go.
I don't know that Chernin's given me anything. Like, not even like maybe a thank you card, a couple nice emails, maybe. Right. I like those guys, but they haven't. I don't think they like. Hey,
they're waiting till you make them $1 billion, and then
hey, great job. You mean as a quote, you returned a 9 gazillion. That was a unicorn investment for them.
Okay, so I wrote this piece and I said Barstool's going to be $1 billion brand if basically you don't sell too early.
Correct.
Right. And the whole idea was just you have the fan base. And it was so obvious early on. Like if you have the relationship with the fans, you win because you can create companies, sell it through, products, sell it through, whatever. At some point you decide, one, to sell, right? A piece, not the whole thing, but a piece. And then two, you do it where now you're focusing all your energy on somebody else's product. It's not something that you guys created. Talk through like why do that versus just go start your own sports book plus a bunch of other stuff and put it through the distribution.
You mean here with like Penn?
With Penn, yeah.
Well, we could never start our own sports book. We'd never get licensed. We'd never get access. All that shit would just never happen. So
you needed the partner to do it.
Needed the partner, and they were the perfect partner. And again, it is a question I get asked a lot. But when you're in our shoes, and I've been fucking grinding at this thing for 17 years, I made money, but and it's all relative. Like I'm obviously have done well, but when you look at the Chernin deal, it's not like I was obscenely rich. Like I had money, but that wasn't like, oh my God. And even now,
it's not like now where you can tweet at Celebrity Net Worth, hey, updated to 200 million.
Right. On paper. But so this was, and it's not as if we have this waterfall of offers and meetings when you're going through and nobody's making an offer. It's like, well, is anyone getting an offer? And do I want to do this for the next 20 years to build it up? I always thought sports gambling, it's how we started. Yeah. The second the legislation in the United States changed to make it legal, I'm like, okay, this is our moment. And we spent close to a year trying to figure out the best fit. And Penn was by far and away the best partner that presented itself, from Jay Snowden, who I love, the CEO, to them understanding what we do and having faith and believing in it. It was almost a no-brainer. I mean, we named our price. There was no negotiation with Penn. And I thought it was crazy because based on FanDuel,
how'd you come up with the price?
I didn't like the Chernin guys, as you said, are fierce negotiators. So if they're naming it, I'm like, okay, but they named it, and Penn was like, yep, that's it, done. They didn't negotiate. It was nothing. As long as they felt we were aligned, and we are, because it's not like I got paid. It's like a lot of stock and all that shit.
How much did you take in stock versus cash?
It was like, it was 55-45.
55 cash or stock?
55 stock, 45. And that's like different for me. It's like the Barstool people are different than the Chernin people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was a great deal. Now, when the stock goes up and bumps pre-corona, it's like, oh, we just made them a gazillion dollars in 10 seconds because Wall Street reacted obviously super favorably to the deal. And that's when the other companies we met with, who I like I obviously, it's like the Brady Six when he's crying. Like, I get a chip on my shoulder. Like, I'm meeting with these guys who know us. It's like, you're not even going to make an offer. Are you fucking an idiot? And they've probably had to spend on talent now more than they would have spent just to buy us because we put them in a box. It's like, oh, fuck. Like,
well, what is it? FanDuel did the Pat McAfee deal, right?
Yep. And on top, they're doing
all of them.
Yes, because okay. And they missed. And I don't know if they'd say they missed, but they missed because I actually really like the FanDuel guys and the ones running it. It's like if they made an offer that was competitive, it's like, okay, we can win with these guys.
I feel like everyone in the gambling sports fantasy world are people like Barstool, right? Like the type of person is so similar. So the people who are running those companies, there's a very cultural fit with what you guys have done. Ooh, maybe not.
Not at the top.
Okay. That's different.
Yeah, maybe down below. But that's why we're going to be like, I've met with them all. They don't, they're not.
Like how bad does this get in the sense of fast forward 5 years, the Barstool Sportsbook versus all these other guys? Like, how bad of a massacre is it?
Oh, I don't know, because they have such a gigantic lead. They have great tech. They have a huge lead. And there's no industry that I'm aware of where there's like one guy. I mean, it doesn't matter what there is. There's multiple players and they're competitive, and in a way it can help each other. But nobody outside, like, I guess the cable company and telephone, well, even there's multiple, but you can only get one cable company in your house. Other than that, there'll be multiple players. Like FanDuel and DraftKings are not going anywhere.
Yeah, agreed.
We're different. Like, those two, to me, are one of those. I don't know what'll happen. They're identical companies to me. They're both out of the daily fantasy, the big databases. They're going to try to win with offers and plays. No one cares. No one's going to wear a FanDuel hat or a draft as much as they try. That's never going to happen. But they're going to be there. And I saw one interesting stat when I was looking at downloads, and it's like our downloads and what we did in Pennsylvania and handle and all that didn't seem to take away from the others. And I can believe that.
Oh, interesting. So it was additive to the overall.
Correct, because we have our audience who may not have been. So, it could help both markets. I could, and who knows, anybody who thinks I have insider knowledge, like you came in and I'm like, well, Penn was down 10%. They did this stock offering. I had no idea that was coming. And I have so much Penn stock, even beyond like the deal.
You know why they don't tell you, right?
Because it's our trading.
No, because telling you wouldn't be bad because you're an employee. But then you would go sell it and you get yourself in trouble.
Correct, exactly. So
they basically know you better than you know yourself.
They protect me, but it's still – so they told me just late last night so I wouldn't be like stunned by the news. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm so confident and myself and what we do here that I just keep buying it as it goes. Like I'll bet on myself 100. So when he told me that, I would never know this if I wasn't doing the day trader. I'm like, oh, stock's gonna get killed. Like not because Penn. Anytime a company does this, stock gets killed. I've seen it. Like I've owned stocks. I'm like, what the fuck is it down? And then people are like, oh, they did an offering. It doesn't generally last. It comes back. But when he told me that, it's like I'm sitting here I'm like, all right, you motherfucker. Like I didn't say it. It's like I'm gonna get murdered tomorrow. And it's like I'm gonna have to wake up all these people. And sure enough, it did. They buried some good stats, but yeah, it's
Hold on, before we talk about the stock stuff, you guys launched the sports book in Pennsylvania this past weekend. You outperformed downloads for all the other ones. Did you guys have to spend money to drive that, or is that all organic, just putting it through the distribution?
All organic, which to me...
Which is the big advantage that you guys have. Yeah.
So that is the story, and that's why even the way they did this release, which they can't tell me, like the press release and all that, I feel like they should talk to me because I'm understand marketing, I feel like, better than they do. Like it's stock offering, and then at the bottom, it like had the stats. And the stats, and people will twist them. People don't like me, will say they're bad, they're good. It was like, I think I have it. It's like 30,000.
Yeah, it was like 30,000 downloads.
Downloads in Pennsylvania, 11 million handle, like 24,000 registrations.
It's really, really impressive.
There's 10 existing companies, sports books in Pennsylvania with a huge lead on us. We know where it's like a race that is a 10-mile race, and the other companies are 5 miles in, and we're just starting. There's no other company in the world who could have that dent with $0 spent. We didn't spend a cent. So
when you guys go to market this, how much is this just you send a message to everyone here and you're like, hey, we're launching this, like, go promote it, versus it's specifically like, okay, we're going to promote it on this show. We're going to promote it on this show. Like how strategic is this?
It's pretty just promote it however you see fit. And
that's what it looks like, which makes it so much more valuable.
Yep. And that is how it is. And it's a natural, because our history is gambling. And then I was saying, like, extrapolate it, take a state like Michigan where it is not legal yet. And that's like, I went to school there. We're huge in the Midwest. Penn has one of the nicest casinos there, the Greek, which is like, I think they're nicest Las Vegas style casino. And all of a sudden everyone's at the starting line at the same time. Well, we're going to cause real damage there. So not everyone's totally understanding that. I guess some people do, some people don't. But Pennsylvania was as encouraging, I think, as we could possibly expect it to be. And like the stock offering thing, again, it's like we're not, unless I'm being strictly lied to, which I know I'm not, that's money is not going to people's hands. We're using it as it was, I said, to give me like guns, ammunition, so we can start spending. Yeah. So
I feel like, and this is external looking in, if somebody just gives you a camera and says, go live stream, you'll win some portion of the market, right? You, Big Cat, etc., like whatever. Then when they put a company that's got real technology behind you, right? Okay, now the product actually works. It's good, great. And then if they put marketing dollars behind this as well, it's like, it's unbeatable.
100%. And I think there'll be consolidation. Again, this is just a guess in the market. Like if you took a FanDuel or DraftKings and combined them with us, that's the end of this game. Like,
do you want that to happen?
Depends how much money I'd get. Like honestly, that's all.
Yeah, that's a great answer though.
Yeah, that's all a finance thing. Like who's in control? I know this. Like if those two combined, it doesn't matter. It's the same company. Who cares? They probably have a very similar.
They tried already.
And they have a very similar database. It's like, I guarantee you, almost everybody who has FanDuel has DraftKings and vice versa, and they're shopping lines. So we are a very different thing. We combine with one of those, the other one's dead. So I like that position, and it could happen down the world. And then you look at things like MGM Grand, shout out. I mean, whatever. They had Jamie Foxx. I don't know if you saw it.
No.
They signed him like a big Jamie Foxx. He's the face of MGM gambling with an app. It's like, are you kidding me?
Jamie Foxx versus Dave Portnoy in the gambling space.
That is a beatdown. Like that is an. And they
by the way, they have real production studios, etc. And you're basically sitting on, in your backyard in the fucking Hamptons or whatever, streaming.
Right. And the nutty thing is, like, I know MGM and I know Caesars, and we talk to them, and they never do a deal with us because there's old stuffy suits and whatnot. I'd never heard of Penn. Ever until a lot of their properties were different names. Like I heard of Penn National Casino. I knew the Tropicana, which is a dump, which they had owned at the time. But like, I never knew what they are. Go ask people now who Penn is. It's like
everybody knows.
Everybody knows. Yeah. Suddenly, it's like you look at the casino groups. That's all Barstool. It's funny because I know I'm underpaid again. Like I was underpaid with churn, and I realized I didn't.
How did you structure the deal now that you did that deal? You obviously got cash and stock.
Yeah.
Right. Your
5-year deal. I have a 5-year contract here.
Okay. And you get stock and cash.
Correct.
Okay.
And I can I'm basically, they tied me in long term. Like and
if it goes better, you probably get more. If it doesn't go so well, then
my stock is fluid. I can't sell it, so it's like it.
Do they treat you like an athlete where hey, if you hit 20 home runs, you get a bonus or anything like that?
No. This is where my lack of negotiating skills probably comes in. I generally don't renegotiate. It's like, all right, I like the deal now.
No, don't renegotiate.
The churning guys were essentially at Kearns like, yeah, you were underpaid the whole time. It's like, no shit, I was. They did give me raises, but when you see.
Did you ever, when you were handing out newspapers at the subway and train in Boston, did you think you were ever going to have a boss?
No, and I still don't. I do, but I don't. Because
all right, explain.
Well, I have technically a boss, Jay Snowden, and I guess churning guys were as well.
Yeah.
But
they let you do your thing.
When the ultimate trump card is, I'm just going to walk away if you don't give me what you want, and your business is going to fall apart, I don't have a boss.
Are you negotiating with Jay and Chernin right now?
No. I don't do it that way. I never. It's like whether Erica, I'm pretty sane. Our interests are aligned, and I'm honest and I'm straightforward. And as long as you're back to me, we'll never have a problem. And I would never do a deal with Jay or Chernin if I thought that was going to be an issue. But our business, strangely enough, is so dependent on the content, whatever. It literally, when the ultimate card, and I am crazy enough to walk. I love money.
I know.
But it's on principle. If you're like, okay,
to be honest, from afar, if there was ever okay, here's the moment, and it was give back the $200 million or concede to whatever bullshit, I literally think you'd give back the money.
100%.
Yeah. Which is, by the way, is fucking insane.
Yeah, that would be the easiest. If it was something where I'm like, this is wrong, I can't do this, or you're fucking me over, I would rather the entire ship burn with me than concede. It's just in my nature.
That's why MGM and Caesars and all them couldn't do a deal with you.
Probably. But it boils.
But it's true.
But it boils down to it. When I say it, it's honesty and being straightforward. And you may not like it, but I would never go into business with somebody who I didn't have the vibe. I don't care it's not whether I like something or don't like something. It's whether I feel like you're being deceitful or misleading. Yeah. That's where I'd be like, no, you said that. I remember the Chernin deal. There was $50,000 in lawyer fees that I know at the beginning is they cover my lawyer fees. It was $50,000. I was getting a lot of money for me at the time. And we were the last moment. They're like, yeah, you pay for the lawyer fees. I'm like, no, we agreed that you did. And not Mike, someone else called and they tried to negotiate it. And I literally at the end, I'm like, the deal's off. It's they're like, we'll give you 40, not 50. I'm like, it's 50 or the deal is off because we agreed on it. That's it. If we agree on something with me, you better fucking honor it or else I will walk.
And you do the same in return.
Totally.
Right. Okay. All right.